You hear the word alchemy, and what do you picture? Probably some old-timey figures in a dusty lab, right? Trying to do the impossible. But what if that whole ancient quest wasn't really about metal? What if it was about us? Welcome to The Explainer.
So yeah, the classic definition of alchemy, it's all about transmutation. You know, the idea that you could take something basic, like lead, and turn it into something precious, like gold. And hey, while they were at it, they were also looking for a magical potion for eternal life and a cure for everything. I mean, it's a pretty cool idea, even if it didn't quite pan out the way they hoped. But here's where things get really interesting. That's just one side of the coin. What if the real alchemy, the one that actually matters, has absolutely nothing to do with metals? What if it's all about taking the heavy lead of our own lives, you know, our struggles, our frustrations, and turning that into personal spiritual gold? And that right there, that's the heart of what we could call modern alchemy. It's really this science of self-realization. It's this powerful idea that we can take all that internal darkness, the anger, the fear, the anxiety, and actually transform it into light.
Okay, so why is this so important? Why do we even need this transformation? Well, here's the thing. For most of us, most of the time, we're not really in the driver's seat of our own lives. Nope. Our subconscious is running the show. Just think about it like an old operating system on a computer. It was programmed ages ago, and now it's just running on autopilot, controlling something like 95% of everything we do.
And the amount of stuff going on in our heads, it's absolutely staggering. Get this, experts figure we have somewhere between 60 and 80,000 thoughts every single day. That's insane. It works out to about 2,500 thoughts an hour. But here's the real question, the kicker. How many of those thoughts are actually new?
The answer, for most people, almost none of them. Seriously, we are basically playing the same mental mixtape on repeat, day after day. I mean, does any of this sound familiar to you? The alarm goes off, you hit it with the same hand, you stumble down the same path to the bathroom, you make the same coffee, you drive the same route. We're living in these loops, basically reacting to things based on that old subconscious programming.
And running on this old software has a real cost, a high one. Every single time you get angry or frustrated or worried, that emotional energy doesn't just disappear. It gets stored in your body. And what that does is it keeps us locked in this constant low-level fight-or-flight mode. You know, that survival state where you're always a little on edge, always stressed out, and you just can't think clearly. So, how do we break out of this cycle? How do we finally rewrite that old code? The answer is something really powerful, but it's probably not what you're expecting. The tool is surrender. Now hold on, this isn't about giving up or being a doormat. It's about letting go and giving in to the natural flow of life.
Michael Singer talks about this, and he just frames it perfectly. Think about it. We're smart enough to know we don't control like 99.9% of anything, right? Your heart is beating right now without you telling it to. The planets are spinning in orbit. None of that is because of us. So doesn't it make more sense to work with the universe instead of constantly fighting against it? It's just a logical thing to do.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How does this work in real life? Well, it's a pretty simple technique, and you can do it anywhere. It's 3 steps. Step 1, just notice when you get disturbed. Feel that little jolt of energy inside. Step 2, physically relax. Drop your shoulders, relax your chest, especially around your heart. And step 3, release it. Just let that charge of energy pass right through you, instead of holding onto it and letting it get stuck.
All right, let's use a super simple example we can all relate to. The weather. Picture this. You wake up, you look outside, and it's raining. And you feel that little, that familiar drop in your mood. But why? I mean, really, why? You have zero control over it. It's gonna rain whether you like it or not.
This is what Michael Singer calls the low-hanging fruit. These are the perfect easy-peasy things to practice on. Think about it. Getting upset about the rain has a 100% cost, it just makes you feel bad, and a 0% benefit. Your bad mood isn't going to make the sun come out. So when you practice letting go of these small things, you're basically building a spiritual muscle. That way, you're stronger and ready for the bigger stuff.
Now, here's a really cool way to think about this. A way to make it feel less like a chore and more like an adventure. I want you to try reframing your entire life as a video game. Seriously. It's an incredibly powerful mindset for this whole journey of growth.
So in this video game of life, you're constantly going to get curveballs thrown at you. You know, someone cuts you off in traffic. That's a level. A big project at work goes south. That's a boss fight. You have an argument with someone. That's a challenge. But see, these aren't punishments. They are the levels of the game. And they're perfectly designed to help you practice that relax and release skill so you can level up. And this really breaks it down to two simple choices. When that curveball comes flying at you, you can react. You get angry, you lash out, you store that negativity. That's a strike. Game over for that moment, you're stuck. Or you can surrender. You relax, you release, and maybe you respond with a little kindness instead. That is a home run. And guess what? You just advanced to the next level.
Okay, so what's the end game here? What's the point of all this practice? If we actually do this modern alchemy, if we learn to play this game of life, what's the prize? What is the gold at the end of the rainbow? The gold, it's not a thing. It's a state of being. It's learning how to live in the eye of a hurricane. I mean, the world can be absolute chaos, right? All the drama, the stress, everything swirling around you like crazy, but right in the center where you are, it's totally calm. You're at peace. You're untouched by it.
And that is the alchemist's gold. It's real. It's the kind of deep, lasting peace that doesn't come from having a perfect life, but from knowing you can handle an imperfect one. It's the wisdom you get when you finally stop fighting with everything and see it all as this divine game that's here to help you grow. And maybe the biggest prize of all is realizing that incredible joy and bliss, that's not something you have to find out there. It's your default setting. It's who you are when you're in harmony with the universe.
So I'll leave you with this one final question. As you go about the rest of your day, just think about it. What's the lead in your life? You know, that one recurring frustration, or that nagging worry, or that old anger that keeps popping up. What is it that's just sitting there, waiting for you, the alchemist, to come along and transform it into pure gold?